is going on, guys? This is Joey. I'm coming at you an update video on the other 60p. Finally get to show you guys the other tank plus some of the shrimp I got for this tank. So right off the bat, I'm going to tell you guys I got some blue bolts. I had some blue bolts, and I still have some blue bolts actually in my waterfall tank, the Wabikusa tank, and I have a couple of them in there. They've been doing really well in there, so eventually when this tank's a little bit more established, I'm gonna go ahead and transfer the couple ones I had in that tank to this tank as well. I have about maybe a dozen guys in here. There's one over here. There's a couple of them under these leaves and under this filter over here. I'll try to zoom in a little bit for you guys to see. But this tank actually cycled first before the other tank, which is a little bit surprising. This actually cycled probably a week earlier, so probably about 3 weeks, and the other one was about a little over 4. I'm sorry, this was about 3.5 and this was about 4. So maybe a little bit, a couple days earlier. I did do a little bit of maintenance, and I only cleaned the front glass and I left the back glasses to kind of show you guys what I'm kind of dealing with in terms of the tank right now. So with this tank, I really don't even have any plants. Initially, I had the 2 swords. They're actually growing really well, and I'll get an update on those to you guys in a little bit. But I was gonna go and grow some a UG as carpet on here. And when I got the UG in, and they are actually pretty tall, and actually I didn't like how tall they were because they kind of offset this plant and the rocks a little bit. So I decided not to go with those plants. I tried some blood vomits and in low tech. So there was kind of an experiment, and as you can see, like, they're not doing well. They're pretty much dead. So I'm gonna go with probably a Monte Carlos carpeting plant, just so that it can cover this nicely, because I have some growing in my other tank in low tech, so I definitely know that it can grow in here. So most likely I'll probably throw some Monte Carlos in here to carpet this whole thing and remove some of these other ones that are dying. In addition to that, I did some other experiments in the back here, and this is just for, I don't know, learning purposes for me. These are some Ludwigia Whites. I'm trying to see if they grow in low tech pretty well, and as you can see, 3 of the stems back here, they look like they're growing pretty well. The reason why they're so like brownish is because they're just covered in algae. The tips are white because they're new growth. Alright, so that's a quick update on the plants, and you know what I plan on growing, and eventually the Ludwigia Whites, if they do well, I'll keep them in the back just for, you know, I don't know, just for height differences and different colors. I'll probably carpet this whole tank with Monte Carlos or some form of an easy carpeting plant plus these swords. And once they grow up, I'll split them and plant them around as well. Alright, so since the update on the tank, I pretty much, you know, threw this sword in, and actually this sword came in one sword. I split this one between the other 2 here, and it's been growing really nice actually. If you don't remember, I only had like maybe 4 leaves or 3 leaves or something like that, and now, you know, it's branching and growing a lot of good leaves on this plant. So I'm really happy. You know, within 4 weeks it's grown really well. It was established. It didn't melt at all actually, so I was really surprised. Normally with plants, you know, establishing to a new parameter, they tend to melt. Like literally all the leaves melt, and then you have to wait for the new growth. But this plant, it grabbed, it went, and it was, you know, doing really good right now. So I'm really happy. Alright, so all the shrimpies are kind of like hiding right now, so I'm just gonna lift this leaf up to kind of show you guys here. There's some blue ones in the back here. Let me get these guys. So I got a good mix of different blue bolts from different suppliers and different breeders to try to keep the strain and the generation a little bit stronger. Alright, so this sword is on the other side, and it's, as you can see, it grew like really nice leaves from here. It's actually spawning 3 new leaves. And I actually had to trim this one because this was the only leaf that actually started dying, kind of like this, where it gave signs like this, and eventually it went yellow. With aquatic plants, you don't want the plant to waste all of its energy giving, you know, this dead leaf like all of its like energy and all of its like nutrients to try to keep it alive, because it's going to die anyways. So what you want to do is just really just trim it so that new growth can grow and you have healthier leaves. So that's what I did with that leaf. But when this plant was only here, it only had really just that leaf, this one that I trimmed, and this like baby leaf here. So when I went to trim the plant, because this is actually a really expensive sword, it's a rare sword, I kind of like cringed a little bit, because literally like each leaf, if you did like the math or whatever, it's like, you know, it's like $40 a leaf that you just lost there. And as far as the additives, again, I added some almond leaves. I went ahead and added some guava leaves, some other stuff, you know, for the shrimp, similar to the other tank, you know, nothing really different, nothing fancy. I also added some netherite snails in here, 2 of them actually, because this one was a little bit heavier in algae versus the other one. Because the light for this one is the ADA 601 light, and it actually is really, really strong. Like, if you don't have enough plants, like, you're just gonna go straight up algae. And that's what happened in this tank, right? And I'm not too worried about it, because once I establish the carpeting plants, it'll be fine. And you know, once the tank is really established, you know, we'll have life in here, and it'll take off, and it'll find its balance. With the other tank, I'm running the Castle, and the Castle you can kind of dial in the intensity of light. So the other tank, it's actually a little bit dimmer, a little bit slightly dimmer than this tank, because this tank, it's literally only one output. It's at 100%, and you can't adjust it at all. Alright guys, I hope you guys enjoyed the update. It's just a quick update on the tank so that you guys can see what kind of shrimp I got with the tank. And also, probably in a couple months, I'll probably again get another batch of blue bolts, and hopefully they actually start breeding, and you know, this tank takes off with a bunch of shrimp. Alright guys, until next time, peace.